Alright, welcome back to Comparative. I'm going to run through the median visceral branches of the abdominal aorta, supplying blood to the unpaired digestive organs here. So abdominal aorta. There are immediately three huge median branches or arterial trunks of the abdominal aorta going to the viscera. The most anterior one would be the celiac artery. Just immediately once it penetrates the diaphragm and enters the abdominal cavity, it gives off the celiac artery, which will supply blood to the liver and the stomach. And then just posterior to it is the superior mesenteric artery, supplying blood to the majority of the intestine. And then move posteriorly down here near the pelvis is the inferior mesenteric artery, supplying blood to the colon and the rectum. Okay, so what we're going to do is to examine what we can see of the branches of those three visceral and arterial trunks ng abdominal aorta. Let's start with the celiac artery. So the celiac artery has three sub-branches. One going to the liver down there. That's going to be the hepatic artery. It's going to be more visible on the right side later, but there it's the hepatic artery. And then one branch goes to the stomach. That's the left gastric artery or the coronary artery. And then one going to the spleen. That's the splenic artery. Let's follow that hepatic artery there on the back side. This one. So let me trace it on the right side. Yep, so this is it. It's the hepatic artery coming from the celiac. So it's three-dimensional. You have to use your spatial cognitive function to imagine it. That's the hepatic artery, and then it will split. One branch going. So we have already removed the common bile duct, so you should do that as well. Remove the common bile duct to expose the blood vessels. So this is the hepatic artery, and then it splits. One branch going to the straight to the gallbladder. That would be the cystic artery. And then there's going to be a branch going for the stomach, the pancreas, and the duodenum. That's the gastroduodenal artery. The gastroduodenal artery will give rise to the anterior pancreatico-duodenal artery. You see it goes curved like that, going to the pancreas. That's the anterior pancreatico-duodenal artery. And then if you look on the back side, so this is still the gastroduodenal artery. and it has a branch going to the greater curvature of the stomach. So that would be the right gastroepiploic artery. Right gastroepiploic artery. And there's also a branch here going to the pyloric portion of the stomach. That's the pyloric artery. So from the from the gastroduodenal artery come three branches. One going to the pancreas, the anterior pancreaticoduodenal artery. And then there's the pyloric artery. And then if you move or reflect the stomach towards the right side, you'll see the right gastroepiploic artery passing over to the greater curvature of the stomach. Okay, those would be the branches of the hepatic artery. Next, again, to ground you, celiac is the left gastric artery going for the stomach. Let's examine the branches of the splenic artery. Splenic artery divides into an anterior splenic artery and posterior splenic artery. Right, and the splenic artery also gives rise to pancreatic arteries. There. Along with the pancreatic veins. So it gives rise to pancreatic arteries. Right? Anterior, posterior splenic, and then pancreatic arteries. And also coming from the anterior splenic artery are the left gastroepiploic arteries embedded inside the gastrosplenic ligament. So this is the gastrosplenic ligament. So there will be veins and arteries there supplying blood to the greater curvature of the stomach. Those arteries are the left gastroepiploic arteries, different from the right gastroepiploic artery you've seen from the right side, right? So the left gastroepiploic arteries came from the anterior splenic artery. All right. And then next we examine the branches of the superior mesenteric artery. The superior mesenteric artery gives rise to the intestinal arteries here. Going to the jejunum and also the ileum. Those would be the intestinal arteries coming from the superior mesenteric. And let me look for the posterior pancreatico. Okay, I think it's already severed. But this the superior mesenteric artery, and supposedly there should be a branch going to the pancreas and duodenum. That would be the posterior pancreatico-duodenal artery. I think it's this one already severed. Posterior pancreatico-duodenal artery. And then these would be the intestinal arteries, the generic intestinal arteries. But there should be another artery going here to the duodenum, like going back, circling back anteriorly into the duodenum and the pancreas. That's the posterior pancreatico-duodenal artery. And then the next set of branches of the superior mesenteric This one, not the dark one, that's a vein. This one is the iliocolic artery. So we're at the cecum region. This is the ilium, cecum, ascending colon. So there's a branch of the superior mesenteric going for the cecum. It's the iliocolic artery, supplying blood to the cecum and also part of the ascending colon and also the ilium. That's why it's called iliocolic artery. And then the last branch of the superior mesenteric is this one. That's the middle colic artery. Middle colic artery supplying blood to the transverse colon and also a portion, the proximal portion of the descending colon. So that's the middle colic artery. Let's proceed with the inferior mesenteric artery. There's only going to be two branches of the inferior mesenteric artery. One going up, you see it forms a Y shape. Forms a Y shape. This one going up to the descending colon. So also this one. That's the left colic artery. Left colic artery supplying blood to the descending colon. And then that one going more posteriorly, heading for the rectum. That's the superior hemorrhoidal artery. Superior hemorrhoidal artery. And those are the branches of the abdominal aorta going for the visceral organs: coeliac, superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric arteries. Coming next are the veins. So it's a circuit, right? So these arteries will supply blood to the viscera, and then the blood, now nutrient rich, because along with the waste products of the viscera, the veins will collect the nutrients that have been absorbed by the intestine. And those veins are the tributaries of the hepatic portal system, going straight for the liver.